Before watching this video, I just wanted to say a recently uploaded theory video on who we think the final boss of Deltarune could be. It will strongly lead in this theory too, so I'd recommend watching it before this. Enjoy the video. Without further ado, this is why I think Des could be Deltarune's knight. So to start, a few major things lead into this theory. The first being the dialogue that we see in the code in Chapter 1. I think this could very well be Des because of the fact that it's talking about feeling lost and scared, which can easily be interpreted as what Des first saw after going missing. I believe that Des went missing and is currently missing in a dark world, specifically a dark world that has to do with underwater themes. I'll explain why. This theory, however, will be a lot more in depth. We're going to have to dig into a lot of things, including the Deltarune website itself. My first piece of evidence is deltarune.com/share. You may be thinking, it's Gaster, it says dark in the dark. What if I told you Des most likely went missing underwater, and the game basically confirms this? And some dialogue at the end of Chapter 2 when you're walking around Susie in the light world. Onion Song mentions hearing a song coming out of the water. This detail is important because many other links to Deltarune's website lead to something goofy that seem to be lore related, like deltarune.com/lancer for example. But Des? No. Des is different. When you go to deltarune.com/Des, you're met with this image. And clicking it plays an audio file titled findher.ogg. Now the reason why I think this could be important is because I think the same song playing in findher.ogg could be the same song Onion Song is hearing under the water. A lot of people think that Des drowned, but no, I think it could be the opposite. I think Des is completely alive and well, the one creating the fountains in the dark world, the Roaring Night. Now, onto a more convincing part of the theory, where things also get a little more confusing too. In some dialogue with both Queen and Spamton in Chapter 2, their eyes turn to static, which I think is very interesting. Another interesting thing is what they say when their eyes turn to static. Take a look at this. Now you might notice something here. Does calling for help sound familiar? That's because that was one of the exact lines found in the code in Chapter 1. I think that Des has been communicating through several Dark World residents, including Queen and Spamton. Take a look at this too. Notice how Queen's eyes turn to static right after saying choose the world that makes you happy, just like Spamton's eyes turn to static. I think that Des is directly communicating to Noelle here. Now, you might be asking, how does this tie into my other theory? Well, you probably guessed it, I think that Noelle is the angel. I think that Des is creating all these worlds for Noelle as kind of like an escape of reality, if you would say. Fantasy is also just often something a lot of people use to escape reality, including myself. And gaming for me in general is a huge example of this, with some of my favorite games being Undertale and Deltarune, Persona 5, and Clear Obscure Expedition 33. All three of these games and a lot of other games have also just helped me through some tough times in my life. But sometimes I just need to remind myself that reality is where I need to be, even if it's not where I want to be at the time. I think it could be a very similar case with this. She's looking out for her sister and knows about Noelle being the angel and is encouraging her to create the ideal world that she wants, but I also do feel like Des could have been so caught up in making her own worlds that she just doesn't know what reality is anymore and knows that the Fun Gang wants to banish the angel's heaven. Knowing that would harm her sister, she just can't let that happen. I don't think she cares about causing the warring as long as her sister is happy and in the world that she desires. In a case where we're convinced about Noelle being the angel, there's a lot of things that point to this too. Her dark world outfit being a robe, the Christ-centered imagery, and the fact that she is referred to as angel multiple times in Chapter 2 and even talks about wanting to grow angel wings and fly away. And now for my final part of the theory, which is also completely speculation. I think that chapter 6, 7, or whatever chapter this is at that point in time will end the well being the final boss, turning against us in order to create the perfect world. Right before entering the room we fight Noelle in, we get knocked back by Death in a similar way to how we were knocked back by the King after Ralsei kills him in chapter 1. That would also lead to Knight's motives for causing the warring, which are completely unknown us now. Although it wouldn't make sense if the Knight was like, ooh, scary, I'm going to destroy the world, and it would make more sense if there's a genuine reason for causing the warring. It's not something they want to do, but if you were put in a similar situation where you found a way to make someone happy, let them live in the fantasy world that they desire, but it also came at the cost of basically everyone else's lives, it would be a genuinely hard decision. I believe Death chose that decision. That's really it for this video though. Even though I am barely new to the more public side of the Undertale and Deltarune community, since I've been hiding in the shadows for around 9 years, I did just kind of want to make this video as a send off to this era, making theories between chapters 2 and 3 the little information we have. Also, this is going to be the last insane theory I make before chapters 3 and 4 come out in about 6 days, so don't take anything I say too seriously, especially if it gets proven wrong in the upcoming chapters. That's it though. I'll see you guys next time, whenever Deltarune chapter 3 and 4 comes out probably. That's it for this video. Bye.